Hello and welcome to the penultimate round of Season 2 of the GTR2 series, which has been semi-confirmed to be the last season with these GTR2 vanilla cars, I guess you could call them that, because we will be switching to the easy GT3 mod for next season, which should be quite interesting. Well, everybody's gonna start basically from zero. And speaking of starting from zero, that also means there are development entries. They won't make quite a big appearance after this. Of course, they will be there at Spa as well, but they're not going to serve a big purpose. That was the word I was looking for. Anyway, off the start we go for this 29-lap race, because yes, it is a rather large circuit, and it is 400 kilometers, but still. And first on the pole is Whack, but he is on the outside and Gregory on the inside. I mean, he is a little bit ahead by now, but then we come to the Dunlop chicane, and they basically managed to hold side by side all the way through the Dunlop chicane and down towards the SSD go, and they're still side by side, and there's a bit of a bumping and barging going on in the background, and still we have a tie for the lead. They can't decide who's going to be first here. Wag is a little bit ahead here, but he is on the outside for the next corner. Gregory, however, is not quite close enough to make anything happen, and they are sort of side by side, but at this moment Gregory just decides, I'm not gonna hold that. It's just far easier to just fall back and slipstream and maybe go for an overtake on the way down to the first chicane. And this is, I love this camera angle right here, where you just see all of the cars coming into one big line. I quite like that shot. But Gregory doesn't quite get a move done, doesn't quite get enough speed, and now instead he's under attack from Ahmed in the Porsche, and the Porsche, as we know, is pretty damn good in the acceleration, and well, there's no answer from the Ferrari for that. And now Michelin as well is coming to overtake him, and Whitfield as well, and Demet, and every single Porsche is coming for the Ferraris right now. So, yeah, well, like I said, the Porsches are good in acceleration. They can really use it at this track, as Ahmed has it go up the inside, but not quite close enough. And somehow Gregory is fending off all the Porsches on his own here. And, well, good job to him, first and foremost. Because I would perhaps not have expected that. And nonetheless, banter is to see fighting with the Porsches in the background, trying to overtake some of them. I might have not, well, I had somewhat anticipated that, because the Ferrari has a good top speed, but the acceleration is not exactly among the best. We should say that. But yeah, like I said, it is still Wag in the lead, and still Gregory is holding out for third. And then we get a big moment of power sliding from Corning, and that's actually too much power slide. He's ended up losing it. And now he's... Oh, a big crash there. Very big crash. We see that from the replay again. Oh, God. Legend left two separate crashes there. One was involving Nagato and Cohen. The other being Cruz, and I didn't quite get to see. I think that was Costa, if I'm not much mistaken. And I do kind of get a little bit of a deja vu seeing Cruz's car hitting Costa's car. I don't know why, but I might be trying to make a point here. I don't think those two guys like each other very much. And we're coming towards the end of the first lap. Yes, this is just the first lap. Still we have Wag in the lead. Somehow he's managed to hold up Ahmed for the entire half of the lap. But then again, that was in the more cornery section, where the Porsche is perhaps not that good. And coming towards lap 2, and we have Bisbal here will also get a big slide, and somehow manages to, forget what I'm about to say. He managed to get himself on the inside of fan, but spun it in the Indianapolis. And it looked to me like a classic example of snap oversteer, really. Not much he could do about that. So, well, that was a bit of a shame. It could have been pass of the week, really. because that was the way he managed to turn that slide into an overtake was just amazing. And just a little further back, we have Collings doing the exact same thing as he did on lap 1, and I think that was either with Lunacy or Bobby as well, having a spin. And now Collings got lost, and I was on his way. Oh, and that's another big crash! Another big crash! What would the AI learn? This time was Herrera, who's also had his fair share of bad luck. Oh, and another! Oh, this is not going good. Oh, this has not been Collings' race. I'll tell you that much. That's very, very unfortunate, and also unfortunate for Hornbeck in the Mosler, one of the two development entries, the other being in Viper. So well, that's not quite been the race any of them had expected or hoped for. Yeah, well, I was about to say tough luck, but that's more than just tough luck. Until lap 3, and we have a pass for the lead. That tries to go on the inside in the Mulsanne corner, and does get up on the inside of the Ferrari, but doesn't quite get the run. White has that advantage going for him. Somehow managed to get an exit on Porsche, which would make perfect sense because tighter ankles and all that. Somehow that seemed to work for him. He's just got to play the normal game really by now, and just hope for the rest to make mistakes. And well, that's another big slide there, but they do get that happening here. And well, speaking of big slides, that's Michelin with a pretty big. Oh, and that's another big crash. Oh God. And now they've gone and buggered it up for everybody. I just love the AI, and we have a slow motion shot here as well from onboard Moore's car, where we see we had another little bit of a collision, and suddenly Husk's car just decides it wants to be an airplane, and that's some decent airtime there. And well, my best theory is that physics just gave up at this point, and then we have another big incident. There's the Gregory as well now been involved, and that basically leaves Wag alone to fight an entire army of Porsches. That is not looking good for the Ferrari here. That is, but then again, well, the Ferrari has kind of been, if there has ever been a car to spin in a race, it has been the Ferrari. At least this season, because last season it was the Porsches for obvious reasons, really. And speaking of spinning Porsches, here is Raven demonstrating that they too can do that. And yeah, well, that too cost him a little bit of a time. We skip ahead a few laps to lap 9, and this might cause deja vu if you think Toyota and Delta Wing, because from what you can see from this camera angle, it looked like a relatively harmless touch from Nagato, as Cruz as well goes on the inside of the stricken Ferrari. The BMWs at this point were about ready to break into the top 10s, and the best of them were 18, 19-ish on the grid, so they do not have the outright speed over a single lap. But have the BMWs got stability? You bet. And we have a slow-mo angle here again from Cruz's car, where you can clearly see what's happening, and that's actually a pretty hard incident there. And the Ferrari gets even greater. That wins flight of the week. It does. That was incredible, the airtime they got from that. The next few laps the race calmed down, and basically nothing interesting happened until Mike decided it was time to go to pits on lap 19. By this time he had, as you can see, a pretty decent gap to the Porsches behind. No real incidents or anything, just he's somehow been able to go that little bit faster and faster and faster, and being consistently faster than everyone else. And that's really all there is to it about this. Of course, him pitting in before everyone else, as the camera is kind of frozen, means that he does lose the lead for a few seconds, but when everyone else comes into lap later, it's just plain sailing for him. He's on the better tires, and he has his advantage from before the pit stops, and he's certainly not going to have lost any of that. And yeah, well, easy peasy for him, really. Not too many problems. For the 21 Ferrari, everyone else had problems, but somehow the 21 managed to avoid all of that, which means, as we come around to end the final lap, because yes, that was the amount of highlights there was in this race, one could take it nice and slowly. I bet he was listening to Fuckhead Slow Ride at this point, and I am not going to put that in there because copyright reasons. If you want, you can search it up for yourself, but anyway, that is beside the point. The point is that we now come to something that's actually interesting. This is what happened on the way back to the pits, and watch this. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is WAC running out of fuel on the way back to the pits. And that was something that caused a little bit of controversy in the first season, when I was discussing that maybe drivers who didn't make it back to the pits shouldn't be able to finish the race, but well, they are classified, of course, and Gregory as well runs out, and some didn't even make it around halfway through the track, as Bender demonstrates there, parked on the main straight. But as I said, White wins the race, just over 2 hours, as you can see. A 10-second gap to Ahmed in the Porsche, Gregory just behind that. And you can see Cruz in the BMW actually managed to find himself inside the top 10, which is impressive, really. That's 10 places gained over the course of a race in which everyone was everywhere. As you can see, he's 2 minutes behind the leader. All these changes, or all these events, means that this is what it looks like with 1 round to go. Only Neyland and Cohen can win the championship at this point. But it is kind of an outside chance for Cohen here. And he's going to need all the luck he can get to make it. Aside from that, we now have all 3 manufacturers in the top 10. So that's positive, I guess. Well, that is it for me from this time. So I will see you at Spa.